Hey there, YouTube. Welcome back. This is the Allegheny Northern in N scale, and today we're going to do the 2024 November layout update. Yeah, it's about a week late, but lots going on. Holidays coming up, and just didn't get to it any sooner. But we are starting to test the layout and the new track. And let's see where we've gotten to. Okay, the first section that we got to was the connection point between the old layout section and I guess the old layout section. It was the new area that was built around the furnace, and had to do some work there because I had scabbed together some pieces of track that were leftover flex track, and I spent entirely too much time trying to make that section of track work, and I should have just replaced it with new flex track. Ultimately, that's what I ended up doing, but I had to spend some time trial and erroring before I got to that point, just to prove that it was absolutely necessary, I suppose. Okay, the Roundhouse section was set up and tracked and tested, and locomotives run in and out and all that good stuff. Turntable tested, auto reversing sections tested, and I do have a functional, well, I will have a functional once I get all that put back together, but I do have a functional turntable yet again, so that's pretty cool. Be a great place to stage some locomotives and basically showcase them while I'm waiting for them. And I got a giant paint can sitting on my track right there because I am gluing down the board, not the track, the board underneath it, and need a little bit of weight, so a half-empty paint can will do the trick for us. Obviously, since that track is not powered yet, I didn't short out my railroad and didn't want the train to catch that wire that's hanging from the upper deck. The other thing that got done was the installation of DCC Concepts PSXX ARSCs, which are automatically controlling the turnout. And I did a whole video on that just to show you how that works. So if you are curious on how I was able to reverse my train and not have to touch anything on it, go back and watch that video. It was last week's release. And because everyone has been asking about Rexy, yep, she's back. She's riding the rails and happy again. Okay, so with all of the Black Friday sales and everything else that was going on at the end of last month, I did make a few purchases that were not new layout build necessary. One was a Broadway Limited locomotive, and I know you guys are going to say, why in the world would you buy a Broadway Limited locomotive? You absolutely despise them, and yet here we are with one. And I'm going to be honest with you, because nobody else is making this particular locomotive. So this is an SW7, and it is in the absolute beautiful paint scheme of Southern Railway. And actually that's in there, I'm going to have to get that out. And it's in the green. Hasn't even been out of the box yet. So stay tuned for a review on that. In addition to that, Blueford Shops, some large auto parts box cars, Conrail, Norfolk Southern, and that's because my port scene is expanding, and so these were on kind of a closeout type of deal, so I picked up 2 more. I now have 4 of those. And then some Trainworks gondolas for Norfolk Southern. One's a patched out, and one is just a straight up NS, because I'm going to have expanded services for the Weirton steel, so I need a few more gondolas. Okay, so I know that doesn't seem like much, but it has been an awful lot of work to get to this point, and now that I have at least one track that I've tested and one train that I've tested, there's obviously still some temporary stuff in place That's just because the board wasn't level, and some things like that just they need attention still. So I'm not considering it necessarily done. It's just to the point where I can run some trains until I get everything figured out. That's kind of sort of what I wanted to get to. So I am going section by section, and I'm working in certain areas to tie things back together. It's highly unlikely that my goal of trying to get trains running successfully for Christmas, is when I have most of my guests over, is going to happen. Obviously, the old stuff is still working. The new stuff and the connection, it's actually not the new stuff, it's more the connection between the old stuff and the new stuff that's a little rough, just because I'm trying to make so many different things work out. But we're getting there. It's a slow and steady process. Obviously, before I start doing any more scenery or modeling, I want to make sure that the track is functional, that everything's soldered that needs soldered, I've got enough feeders, all that sort of stuff. But it's just about there, and this weekend is probably going to be the weekend that I get everything up and running. Obviously, I'm running my big boy as the largest locomotive on the layout, because I want that layout to, as long as it can handle that, then I know that I've got good curves and everything else that the smaller locomotives shouldn't have any issue with. I have been fixing a few electrical issues with old turnouts and crossovers, stuff that was present on the old layout but didn't quite, didn't see any reason to leave it for the new layout. So I've been trying to update that as I go as well. So there's been some tinkering that's been happening that really isn't video worthy, but it's definitely a necessary evil to make everything sort of run and work correctly. There's a lot of odds and ends, lighting, and just all kinds of stuff that need attention. And this was a pretty massive undertaking, so it's just taking a minute to get it all ready to go. Okay, so I was going to show you the train in the other reverse loop, but then ended up having to go and rescue it because we're still working out some kinks, so it ended up hitting the front pilots hit a bump or something. I don't know what they hit. Could have been a piece of foam on the track for all I know. And so anyway, yeah, we're back on the other side. The layout room is getting cleaner. I've got a lot of the stuff that was on the floor off the floor, which is a huge advantage. And I'm slowly cleaning up all of the debris, which was actually was my initial operational issue. Was I had so much crap that had fallen onto the layout that it just everything needed vacuumed and the track needed cleaned before I could even start to work on anything else. And so that actually took some time. Once again, not exactly a video worthy endeavor, but definitely something that makes a difference. The lighting in the train room actually needs a lot of work. That's something that I've been taking note of as I've been going about my toils here. And so, looking at all that, and just going to start chipping away at these projects as I can, because obviously there's a lot of them. I mean, this layout is basically more than double the size that it was when we started this endeavor a couple of months ago. So, I know the video is probably not doing it justice, but it's a lot of work. And so things like this, where you can see where there's just some wood shavings, drill holes or whatever it was from, I actually don't know. It got through my protections, and of course now it's on the layout, so it just needs cleaned up. And as I go section by section, I am working on that to get us to that point. So it's a bit of a process, and it takes a minute. But in general, I can pretty much run this train in a loop, and I can pretty much set it and forget it. Every now and then it finds a new piece of something on the track that I gotta clean up, but I'm trying my best to keep it free of junk. And in the process of working on the railroad, although the trains themselves are doing just fine, what I am doing is taking a toll on the scenery. And it's not because the scenery is, necessarily needs to come off, but like I drop things, and before you know it, I'm missing a piece of a building. So I am trying not to be a complete uncoordinated klutz, but that has been actually probably the biggest challenge, is not breaking stuff that's on the layout. And it's been, let's just say the struggle has been real, and I'm very thankful for super glue, because it's been a bit violent. And then I find things like this, like I don't even know what happened here, but for some reason my air conditioning unit is, I don't even know what happened to that. But anyway, that is where we are for November. By the time we get to the end of December here and start the new year, this will be much more clean, and we will not have this disaster going on that we have right now. So look forward to that. It'll be much better. However, in the meantime, trains are running, and that was the goal. And that automatic switch throw is just so cool. It's the simple things in life. All right, until next time.